Greetings and welcome to another episode of Bermuda's Feel Good Early Morning Show. Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Ariana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jacky Lambert. And we want to thank you for getting up bright and early with us on this Tuesday, the first Tuesday of April 2022. Jack, how are you feeling this morning?
Girl, I didn't think I was going to survive, but I made my first day. Remember, I'm not doing any painkillers for this month.
Oh, yeah. So, how has that been?
I struggle, but I'm doing it. I'm making it. I feel great. I've just been chugging water and cranberry juice, and yeah,
Well, that's good. I'm happy to hear that you are having a better first time of the new month for you. For those of you that don't know, Jacky and I, well, you know, Jacky and I are, but Jacky has had some really interesting challenges with her cycle over the last couple of years, I would say. And so today, this time, April, start of a new lunar year, she has decided to not take any painkillers, which is very interesting because most people try to use the painkillers to numb the pain that they have with the cramps and just in general. But Jacky's decided to soldier it out, and she says so far so good.
I feel like because I was using pills for anything, like I'd be like, oh, I have a headache. I don't feel like tolerating this. I'll pop a pill. So I was just like, let me see if I can detox. I haven't used pills since my last cycle, but I was just like, they're not really working. So I'm popping them and I'll get like a little bit of relief. And then the good stuff is super strong. And of course, the
Good
like,
stuff.
get addicted to it. I'm like, not this personality.
Yeah, we don't need her to be any extra. And so speaking of extra, because last week there was a lot going on in Bermuda Twitter, there was a lot going on social media, as always, because it's social media and that's where we like to hang out. Twitter was popping. I want to say it was Thursday or Friday. I could be mistaken because I don't even have the actual tweet anymore. I just do know that there was some really interesting reporting on the tournament that Manders Tennis Management put on. I want to say it was called the Amstel Ultra.
Ultra Amstel Invitational.
I knew Amstel was in there somewhere. I just couldn't remember which way it went. But so after that particular tournament, the RG um, wrote an article about the tournament, but it seemed to focus on Dr. Weldon. And Jacky and I have shared previously how the conversation around women in sport is not the same in the way that it is given to men. We feel like men get a little bit better representation in the reporting of their content. And so we just wanted to talk about, do you think Bermuda needs a new print media? Because the way that the print media in Bermuda put the story together, put it out on the front page, right? It was the front page of the paper. So it wasn't even the front page of the sports section. It was the front page of the paper in general. Do you think we need another media outlet that's print, or do you just think we need more media outlets to talk about sports in Bermuda? Jack, I want to hear your opinion because I know you have a strong one.
So I've been thinking about this for this particular situation with Dr. Weldon being put under a microscope for a while. So I'm not sure if this situation is actually, that was not intentional. I'm not sure if this situation is strictly about tennis. I feel like they came out there looking for a way to attack her. I'm just gonna put it in those terms, because at first when I sent it to him, I'm like, oh, proud coach, proud friend. She's out there. She did a great job in the tournament. And then I was obviously I had just woken up, so I looked back at it later, and I'm like, hold on, let me go back and look at it. And I looked at it, and it said hitting out, and I'm just like, interesting. So I'm like, hitting out, like in my head I'm like, did she just miss every ball? Was this a game that she didn't do well in? But I was that match, so I remember looking at, peeking over and watching, and she played extremely well. It's a great match. And then I read the rest of the caption. I'm like, oh, you'll still feel some type of way about her either quitting her job, resigning, or anything else that happened, whether she called out Royal Gazette or she called out other medias or whatever the case may be. But they went there with a strategy, with a plan to break her, to bring her down, and that's not fair. And I've had it. A lot of women in tennis or sports have had it, but I wasn't sure if this was something about women in sports or just women professionals, and how the world likes to constantly bring us down. And it's just like, she isn't doing anything but playing tennis and having fun. And it's just unfortunate that they took something that was so positive, because it was such a great tournament. A lot of women came back out, i.e. myself. I came out, I won the tournament after not playing for a year, and before that I hadn't played for 5 years. So they missed an opportunity to highlight that. They missed an opportunity to highlight all the new tennis players that came out, males, females, everything. And they shined a light on this in a negative way. And I just don't understand why they don't realize that right now, in this particular time of our year lives, we are screaming for positivity. Like, our generation is just pushing away anything negative and trying to highlight positive things, trying to get into new events. And I just don't understand why you would deliberately try to bring a professional woman down. My questions need answers.
Your questions need answers, some that we probably don't have because we don't work at the RG. If you have an opinion on this, let us know in the comments. If you think Bermuda needs a new print media, if you think the reporting of women in sports in Bermuda is not the best, we're calling it trash. But let us know your thoughts on it. And as you can tell, Jacky has a personal opinion because she is a woman who plays sports. And so she's been on the receiving end of some of these reporting, or lack thereof, articles. And what I found very interesting, it's like, if the intent, I think there was a few comments on social media where a lot of people were calling out the RG for saying they had an intention already, or a goal, an objective already in mind for their article. And they basically went there to capture enough content to support that particular article, instead of just going to enjoy the tournament, see who some of the star players were, see who some, like you said, some of the newcomers were, some of the veterans that came back out, like have a well-rounded article. And I even think they lost an opportunity to just highlight whoever won the overall tournament as their front page story. And then they, personally, I'm not saying the journalist couldn't have had a line, a paragraph, or whatever about Dr. Weldon, but I feel like making the entire tournament about her particular
And not in a
matches, and not in a positive way, but they missed an opportunity to just focus on the total tournament. And if their intention was to call out Dr. Weldon, to do it in a more, I don't want to say politically correct way, but in such a way that it doesn't bring it to the forefront, because they now, no, not many people like the RG that are not of a certain color, of a certain persuasion, a certain socioeconomic background. So for them to like continue to feed into their narrative, it just further.
It's unfortunate, because I've had some, like I said, I've had good and bad experiences with RG. I've had good and bad experiences with all newspaper outlets since I was playing tennis from young. And I want to say one of my favorite people to deal with is Island Stats. They've always been very polite when they come on to, because some people, they'll come and they'll watch you play tennis and they'll take pictures and they'll get right in your race. Tennis etiquette is a thing. So if I'm getting ready to serve and everybody's, it's like golf, right? So you want to be quiet. And I could play through anything, but if there's a lot of movement behind the court, no, I'm looking to make sure it's not a child, or I'm looking to see if the person's lost.
Like you're distracted.
So now I'm distracted. And he was always very discreet about when he was taking pictures. He was never in the way. He will wait to the end of the match. He will ask you, he was always polite, like, you played well, can I get a comment or anything like that. So I've had great experiences with him. I've had a few experiences with Royal Gazette where they've been polite and they've asked questions, and I think it depends on who was an athlete and who wasn't sometimes.
Got you.
But I think it's very unfortunate that this is the last of a printed media, and this is how they choose to act, because it's not the first time, and it's not just with sports, it's just across the board that they are turning into kind of like, I know some people had said it on social media, but it was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, that's very TMZ.
Oh no.
Because it's just like I said, you could have brought so much positivity. Like you could have still kept it as, stress reliever, or you could have said something as Dr. Weldon resigned and found a new love for tennis and did an amazing job at this local tournament X, Y, and Z. And though you had a microaggression and you kind of stuck her a little bit, it was still more positive than there was negative, and we could have brushed off the rest.
But then that's also interesting. That's an interesting point, because then if we would have brushed off the rest, then are we just continuing to allow them
We're
to
definitely enabling
talk in a certain way? So we could talk about this all episode, because Jackie is not any passionate about this, but I always like to pick Jackie's brain in this particular space, because I feel like there's a lot of conversation online about women in sports and marketing around women in sports, but we don't have these conversations as often as we should. So put a pin in that. If you are interested and you want to jump into the conversation, go ahead and let us know in the comments. Jack and I will more than likely bring this up in a future episode. But we have a guest today, and she is backstage and she's ready to have a conversation with Jackie and I. So Jack and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our guest of the day. You're going to not want to miss this conversation, because this is Financial Literacy Month. And if you know one thing about me, I'm the biggest advocate for financial literacy right now. And so we're going to dive into all of your finance related questions. So drop those in the comments as well.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
And welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. If you're just joining us and you haven't done so already, shame on you. Just kidding, but not really. Make sure you take a minute to share this episode wherever you're watching this. If you're on YouTube, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you do that. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share this on your wall. Make sure you react to the conversation. Use one of those lovely emojis on Facebook. And to all of our people over there on Twitter, make sure you retweet this and run up those hearts. Now, as I mentioned, April is Financial Literacy Month. And so our first guest of the month, we wanted to have someone in the finance space to talk about all things finance related from a small business perspective. So we have Sherlrina Thomas of Concierge backstage, and we need you to help us welcome her to the conversation. She'll drop your good morning greetings, your favorite good morning emojis into the comments as we bring her in. Cheryl, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining Jackie and I this morning. We know it's early on a Tuesday morning, so we want to get you into this conversation as soon as possible to hopefully wake you up if you're not quite ready for your day yet. Now, why did you choose to work in business finance, small business finance? Why did you want to get into this particular space?
So, funny enough, a long time ago, I returned home from university. We were in the middle of a recession, and I noticed a lot of our businesses were closing, primarily small businesses. And I always wondered, like, what's going on behind the scenes? Why are these businesses closing? Come to find out, a lot of them didn't have their finances in order to create a buffer or some sort of reserve for their businesses, or even have proper financial operations. So, of course, here I am trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, because I'm home and I didn't really get in my field of interest. And over time, I worked in several industries, and I finally decided, let's, during Corona lockdown, the first lockdown we had, put all those tools together and create a business to help other business owners who are struggling. And that's where I birthed Concierge during our first lockdown. And truth be told, it's been a success ever since. I helped business owners who normally would not have received the financial aid the government was offering. They got it because I got them in order and in a place to receive those funds, which helped them in the long run.
I love that personally.
Yeah. So speaking of, what are some common mistakes that small businesses are doing that have put them in a position to even need your services?
So a lot of people aren't necessarily expenses. Everyone's excited when, oh yes, I made 10 grand. However, how much of that 10 grand goes out the door?
Mm-hmm.
Are you really pricing your products for a profit, or are you just pricing them with a number out of the sky? Or your services, are you work the service prices? you're earning your potential as well as earning for your business to continue to grow. And a lot of people don't do that.
Mhm.
Now, one thing you mentioned was, pricing your services or your products in a way that will allow you to profit. Can you share some recommendations for people who are maybe just starting out or even looking to maybe change their pricing? Like, what are some things that they should be considering when they're setting that number for that cost? Like, because a lot of people, like you said, pull a number out of the sky, but they don't necessarily know, will that be enough to sustain my business long term?
So I actually share this in a product, a digital product that I just launched recently. And one of them is for your services, create your hourly rate. I mean, yeah, sometimes that is putting a number out of the sky. However, when you create your hourly rate for a particular service, let's say preparing lunch for school, how long does it take you from the time you go out to purchase those ingredients to actually make the prep state and then cook the meals to serve them? How long does it take you to do that? And usually with that hourly rate, you can put a fee to that service. Now you might break it down because you're feeding 20 people and divide that huge number by 20 people and get your service rate. But with products, what I usually tell people right off the bat is how much did it cost you to bring that product in? A, how much did it cost to actually purchase those products? Combine those two together and divide it by the quantity that you bought in. That's a good way to start because what you need to do is make sure that when you're selling your products, you can repurchase those products back without hesitation and with residual profits that are left over from the initial sales to purchase anything else. So it's always finding that healthy balance and not just breaking even. You should never be in business just to break even, but just get to zero. You should always have something left over after every service or every product exchange that occurs.
Great information.
Very good, because I had somebody call me and ask me the other day, somebody asked me to help them with something. I'm looking into X, Y, and Z. How much should I charge? And the first thing I said was, well, how much does it cost for you to operate? Because I'm going to read these numbers first because I'll be like, oh, just charge them $300. How rich are they? Charge them based on their worth. How much are they
Also,
worth?
your worth.
No, I mean, like, are they, like, what's their net worth? Are they in the millions, billions? And charge them an extra $1,000 on top of it. No, but what are some steps that you took to help these businesses go and get the financial aid that was needed for them to be sustainable over the pandemic?
So my first step was actually establishing with payroll tax. A lot of business owners don't understand, but payroll tax is one of the first legit things you need to do to get your business legitimized in Bermuda. Then I established insurance. That's another, which is your government pension. Those two key features stopped a lot of business owners during the pandemic from actually receiving any funds. They're not paying. If you're not paying into the system, why should we help you?
Mhm.
Easier said during the so the they felt so much more at ease. So just ask a question now, seeing who can help you, and because they don't know, someone else doesn't know, but there's information out there to help you move ahead with your business. And getting legit is essential in any business, especially in Bermuda.
I just want to say, I think the internet connection is just a little bit weak. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if we want to maybe jump out of the studio real quick, Char, and come right back in, because I just feel like we might need to refresh your connection, because it is like
Okay.
that last answer you gave us, we didn't really hear all of it. So I don't know if you want to
Okay.
just jump out of the studio real quick and then come right back, and then we can continue this conversation when you get back.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Jacky, while we wait for Sherlrina to come back, one of the things that you had asked her, which I think was really, really interesting, um, was this whole, do you know what the other person's worth? If so, charge them a little bit more. Because I do feel like sometimes we assume that people don't have money or they do have money. And
We give deals.
We give deals. So I think it's really important for people to try to not necessarily think about the other person's net worth, or what they can or cannot afford because of what you've seen them be able to afford previously, and just charge them, like Cheryl said, your worth. Because I feel like when you charge people what you're worth and what you deserve, what it costs you to actually operate, you'll do better to actually get what
I
you
think it's
deserve.
very smart to stand on what you say, because obviously some people come in, and I've had it so many times. Oh, well, can you go lower? And I've been nice and I've gone lower, and then I find out that they're going to somebody else and they're paying twice the price, and it's just like, oh, you played me. Okay, so just
Right.
to let you know, I do know that you're going to X, Y, and Z, and I do know that you're paying this amount. So you either it depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll be like, so I suggest you continue with them, and my service are no longer
It's required.
it's like, keep playing me. And then either that, or I tell them that from now on they're paying what, because
That new rate.
I feel like I am charged decently.
Yeah.
I'm one of the cheapest, not cheapest, most
More affordable.
yeah.
Well, I see Cheryl's backstage. So let me bring her back into the conversation and see if we got a better connection. Cheryl, how are you?
I'm good. Is it
Okay,
better
perfect.
now?
This is much better. Yes. So I don't know, Jack, if you wanted to re-ask that question so that she could respond again so that we can get a clearer response.
So you're saying that you went through payroll tax and what was the other one?
Social insurance.
Social insurance, and we're making sure that the businesses were up to date, because nobody's going to help you if you're not paying into the system. That's where you were. That's the last I heard. Is that?
Yes, so you are correct. With government assistance that was granted during the lockdown due to COVID, they were not assisting any business owners that were not contributing to the system already, meaning payroll tax and social insurance. So once we got those businesses legitimized, or we, meaning myself, got this business legitimized in Bermuda as business owners, and they were paying into the system, government was happy, and they were more than willing to grant those businesses their lost earnings or percentage of the lost earnings during that period of time of each lockdown that we had.
One thing I wanted to follow up on with that is like, so a business that finds themselves in a situation where they haven't been paying into the system because maybe they just didn't know that that was a thing. We see a lot of businesses get started and we don't really hear some of the what you need to do to actually operate a business in Bermuda conversations. You kind of just have to trial and error it out and see where you are. So you could be quarters behind. And, you know, with personal debt, we kind of have those conversations more openly, or we kind of know that those exist because we're people, we know what that is. But when it comes to businesses, we don't really hear about some of this debt. So how difficult or easy or in between is it for some businesses who may be behind in their payroll tax? What's the process for them to kind of get current, to put themselves in a situation where they could start to ask for financial assistance if needed?
So getting current in your payroll taxes is extremely daunting thoughts for business owners, because of course no one likes to owe money, especially when you're just starting out and you're like, where is this bill coming from? How did they get it? How do I pay it back? So the easiest thing to do is to reach out to that person that's noted at the bottom of your payroll tax registration or that bill that you received. Having a conversation with that person makes a huge difference. Their email is on there. I believe their contact number is as well. Or even just visiting the payroll tax location, which is the building next to Marketplace in the city of Hamilton on the first floor. Having a conversation and communication is key with payroll tax and getting it sorted out. Same thing for social insurance. If you are in arrears, have a conversation with that department. There is always someone there, an inspector, any other associates are there to assist you in getting sorted. I do assist clients with that, and it's usually because they don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows because there's so much information out there, they don't know where to go. And that's where Nia Concierge comes in, and we will help you and guide you through that process and get you current and out of that arrears pocket and into a healthier stance with those entities and others.
I feel like when people first come to you, they're going to be embarrassed or ashamed. What are some things that you say to them to calm them down? Because I feel like everybody's just like, So this is embarrassing. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't realize that was so far behind. Do you kind of like stand in the way between, sorry, not stand in the way. Are you the middle person for social insurance and payroll tax, or do these people have to go to them on their own, or are you in the building with them? Only because I feel like they're going to walk in and be like, hi, so I don't know how much I owe. And then they're going to be like, oh, you owe me 10 grand. And they're just like, no. And they're going to be scared to ask for, time to pay, or whatever the case may be. Do you kind of stand in there with them or on their behalf and sort out a payment plan for them and calm them down?
Yes. So the first thing we do is we actually meet the client and I one-on-one, either via Zoom or in-person meeting, and we go through what you owe and the expenses that you have. And I always ask for the actual document that was sent by the entity. And to be frankly honest, it's usually not as bad as people think. So when you say 10 grand, that's a lot of money to anybody. However, when you break it down and get into a payment plan that's comfortable for the business owner, it makes it easier. And the one thing I always tell them is it's okay. There are a lot of people in this position or similar to it, and you're not the only one, but you've made the first step in correcting this matter. And that's the key. You've made the first step and congratulate yourself for it, because some people just become blind to it and they don't take those steps needed. And I actually go in on the behalf of the client. I talk to the social insurance and payroll tax departments. Sorry, even if they have arrears with any other institutions, I go on the client's behalf and speak for them and talk to these institutions to create a payment plan for them that's comfortable with the client. And that payment plan number is already pre-discussed with the client and myself, so that when I have that discussion with the institution, we know exactly where we're moving from there. And most times they're excited that someone's coming and actually trying to resolve this matter versus just letting it float on like it doesn't exist. And then those monies don't come in, which actually go back to helping our country operate.
Now, I wanted to know, because it seems like you're very passionate about this particular topic when it comes to helping small businesses, keep their finances in order and get to the next step if they are in debt, so that they can be, like you said, profitable. But what really motivates you to, sit down with have these conversations with these business owners, get this information out there? Because there's not many people out there talking about this, and I feel like that's why we've seen so many businesses fall, not because they weren't good ideas or good businesses, but because maybe someone just didn't have someone as motivated as you to just let them know, like, hey, this is okay, we can get through this. So let us know what motivates you to do this every day.
What motivates me, in wholly true honesty, is seeing our people survive. Small businesses are in the thousands, hundreds of thousands worldwide due to the corona pandemic primarily. There's no reason why our businesses cannot be considered just as profitable or just as spotlight visual as the brick and mortars that have been around forever, like Gibbons Company. Who says that you can't create your own clothing line and be just as big or even better than Gibbons Company, where Gibbons Company comes to you and says, we want your line in our store? Jamie Madison did it. Mm-hmm. So you can do it too. It's more than enough. For me, I always say this frankly, there's enough money around here for us all to get a piece of the pot. There's enough money, there's enough business out here for us all to be in. You need to put yourself out there to receive what is yours. You've been blessed with a gift. And I tell people this as well, you've been blessed with a gift that not everyone has. You've taken a step on a journey that a lot of people are afraid to do so. But do it in confidence and knowing that you have something to offer. You may have shea butter and 10 other people have shea butter. What makes you different about your shea butter is how you sell your brand. Look at Nature's Gift. He's out there every day on Instagram, video, and everything else, pushing his products. And people always get to hear why. He created a face and a brand for himself, and he is confident about what he does every single day. And I pick on Lyle all the time because he's always out there. You have to be passionate within your business in order to move it forward. And because I love what I do, I'm going to feed that passion into you, and I'm going to help you to remove that fear so your business can move forward and we all move forward together.
I love that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I love me some Nature's Gift, because I remember I ordered something and 5 minutes later he's calling me. He's just like, hey, so I'm in work. I see that you're in work. Do you want it now? And I'm like, what? in Bermuda, I usually have to wait like 48 hours. I absolutely want it now. But with all that being said, because I hear a lot of kind of defense versus being proactive, do you advise companies to still work with you even if they're in the positive side of
the black?
The
black.
Okay, then I'm like, what is it you call it? It's not coming to me. In the black versus in the red. Like working with you when they're in the most positive part, just to be proactive to make sure that they stay on track and stay doing a phenomenal progressive job.
Yes, I welcome those businesses all the time. It's great and it's phenomenal when a business owner comes to me and they're like, yes, I do this and I do that and I do the other. And I'm like, that's awesome. That's awesome. And we're going to keep you there because usually when in the black or the green, as we call it, the green as opposed to the red, they want to expand their business and move on to another level. So I do have clients like that where they came to me, look, we're in a good position, but I want to expand the business. I want to create another umbrella. Sure. Let's get some operations in order so we can take those kind of things off your pocket and you can move forward and do whatever you want to do and expand your business and we'll support you along the way. So of course I welcome everybody to come along.
One thing I wanted to ask as we wrap up show, because we didn't really touch on it just as much. Like we talked, you have a digital product. We talked about like how you do have one-on-one consultations with your clients. But can you speak a little bit more specifically to the different services that you offer and how people can contact you? Because Jacky and I know that, well, Jacky and I are both small business owners, but then we do know that some members of our audience also are small business owners. And sometimes we don't realize the services we need because we don't know what they are. So can you just share like specifically what your services are and how people can contact you if they did want to, set up that one-on-one consultation?
Of course. So other services that I offer, the main services are actually the monthly concierge or bookkeeping concierge, where we walk with you for 6-month contractual period, just making sure your finances are in order. We do anything from debt management, paying your expenses, paying your staff, helping you on the back end to price your products and services, or even just managing those daunting financial tasks that you have to do on a daily basis. We also do QuickBooks setup and cleanup, where some people have just been putting stuff in QuickBooks all this time and they're like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm just putting it in there. You put it in there, we come in and we clean it up for you. We make it organized, nice and neat, so that when you go and create a report and want to see where your business is going 6 months from now, you're able to do so. We also sit down and do little mini workshops for pricing your products. We also assist businesses if you are behind in payroll tax. It's something called a payroll tax cleanup that I have, where I work with you on fixing this issue so you can move forward with your business. And then there's some other things I do, even writing business proposals or helping businesses to create that framework to move forward so that they know what they want to do next for their business. Not everyone really knows that.
And what are some ways the audience can contact you? So like, where can they find you online, email address, so that if they are ready to like, okay, I heard all of those services, I need all 10 of them. Just kidding. But I do need more than one. So how can they get the conversation started with you?
So you can reach out to me. My apologies. At Nia Concierge on Instagram. I have my website, niaconcierge.com. There's a contact form at the bottom. You can just put your information in there and I will reach out to you personally. It comes straight to my inbox. You're also welcome to just drop me a DM on Instagram. I'm very open and easy to contact. If you know somebody who knows me and you're afraid to ask me directly, ask that person for my number. You are welcome to have it. My line is open. Every area that I can possibly be available to you is open to you during business hours to help you get where you need to go.
You gotta set this.
Yeah, I better set this. But I was literally
it's just like, I'm gonna ask her what her hours are because she better not be compared with somebody messages her at 10 p.m. because got an email that they just checked and they're freaking out and they're like, Cheryl, help me.
Cheryl, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank
I think it was
you.
a great way to go Financial Literacy Month for us because I feel like a lot of people are getting into the small business space. They want to have a side hustle that they want to profit from, but they haven't really thought about, all of the things that's required. So I want to thank you for getting up to talk with us this morning and have this conversation with us.
Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We'll hopefully see you again soon.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Jackie and I are going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back to get your thoughts on our conversation with Sherlrina Thomas of Nia Concierge. So make sure you let us know in the comments. And we also have yet another opportunity for you to win a chance to enter Jackie and I's 1-year anniversary giveaway. It's trivia time with Terry for the Field Goal 5 today. So make sure you stick around for that, because Jackie and I will be right back.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio, home of Bermuda's most engaging morning talk shows, The Daily Hour and Good Day Bermuda. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices. BCG Radio, your station for conversations and entertainment.
Welcome back to Good Day Bermuda, supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terry Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on our conversation with Sherlrina Thomas of Nia Concierge. I see we got this comment earlier from Cheryl right before we were having our conversation with Sherlrina. Jason says, morning, miss. All last week he said he was a bad fan. He said, but to add to the gas prices into my hourly, time is money. Listen, I feel like when people, and even when Sherlrina had mentioned that, when she said, like, if you do have to like do the meal prep and you have to go to the grocery store and pick up all the ingredients, like include your gas pricing, like the transportation. Like if you have to go to a specific store that's further out than the one that you normally go to because they look for a specific ingredient, like do include those things as well. Because if you don't, then you're paying for your gas, which yes, you should be, but there is a cost to that meal prep. That gas is included. Like there are certain things that you need to think about. And no, you shouldn't charge people like to fill up your car, but you should, have a certain like $2 fee or whatever it is that's specifically towards the transportation, so that you don't end up putting yourself in the red because you got all these expenses that you haven't accounted for.
Right.
So I think that was a good point. What were your thoughts on it, Jack? Because you're a small business owner, and I don't know, like, who in your operation does like the finances, but like, how did today's conversation help you?
I enjoyed it. We have somebody that does it, but I wouldn't mind having her come in and just look things over to make sure that everything is going well. I think that even if you have a person, you should still have somebody else come in just to make sure that your person is doing what they're supposed to do. I don't know if you've seen movies where the person that's dealing with the finances are like pocketing someone, so you have none. They're like bankrupt. You're like,
and not even that. Like there was also like I think Fat Joe had to go to jail or something like that because his accountant wasn't paying into the system, like Sherlrina said.
Right.
And by the time that he found out the IRS had came for him, and because it was a certain number that he was behind, he ended up having to go to jail. In addition to paying the money back. And it's just like little things like that you might not be thinking about because you're so involved in your zone of genius. But like Jackie just mentioned, it is good to just have someone do a health check, even if it's once a year or twice a year, to just make sure everything is going where you said it's going to go. So I really enjoyed today's conversation.
It kind of keeps your person on their P's and Q's, like, oh, I could lose my job.
Yeah.
All right, let me make sure I'm on top of this.
Make sure everything's okay. Now let's switch gears, Jackie, because it's time for our Feel Good Vibe Up today, and I have picked a card for our trivia time. So if this is the first time you're joining us, I have 3 trivia questions for you. If you get the answer before Jackie, you can email us at the email address on the screen for a chance to be entered into our 1-year anniversary giveaway draw. Now, I haven't even looked at this card, to like really pick which ones I think I should give you, but I still have now looked at it really fast, and I think we can go with this. So this one I think you should get because you like this type of movie.
You like what? You get things.
I have faith in you. What movie features a serial killer called Jigsaw?
Saw.
Yes, I was like, I knew you was gonna get that. It's like, let me warm her up. Let me warm her up.
There's gonna be one that I can't remember.
TV show. Mm-hmm. What are the names of the Powerpuff Girls?
Oh my god. Oh my god, I just went blank.
No. What are the names of the Powerpuff Girls? Yes.
Oh my god. I can only remember Bubbles.
No, Bubbles is the blue one. There's a red one and a green one.
I thought it was pink and green.
Oh, pink and green. Okay. We got the colors. I gave you the colors to help because the colors help you associate with their names.
Yeah, but all I think of pink is like.
And you're not even thinking of the theme song right now because they say it in the theme song.
You got me. You got
And
me.
I got the audience too. So those of you that didn't watch Powerpuff Girls, I need to source your life. So yes, Jason, the colors of the girls are green, blue, and pink. So green is Buttercup, blue is Bubbles, and pink is Blossom.
Blossom. Okay, I
That's
definitely stuck on pink, and I could not get off pink to even think of green.
about
And
green.
I got Buttercup from green.
No,
I feel like Buttercup is so angry that I was just like, she's gonna be named like Daphne.
No, it was Buttercup. They had really nice names for.
I don't even know why Daphne came to mind.
Because you're Jackie. No, this last one, interesting one. It's a news article. In 2003, what country became the third nation to have launched its own manned space flight? In 2003, what country became the third nation to have launched its own manned space flight? Space flight. That's like technology.
Germany. No, but I don't know.
I was China.
That was all the way in 2003. I feel like they would have been.
I feel like I'm gonna find out who were the first two because I feel like whoever the first two countries are either have to be a little bit further in their technology development than China or just beat them. Yeah. Jason says he's embarrassed that he knew the colors. He did guess China, but I already had said the answer. So Jace, womp womp for you and Jackie this week. Jackie did get one. So we'll give her the 1 out of 3.
If you Google, Germany's gonna be in that equation somewhere.
All right. If Jeremy's in the equation, I will bring it up tomorrow.
I just want to say while we're here, your hair is popping.
Oh, thank you. I retwisted my hair myself. Yeah, redid my hair myself over the weekend. When did I do it? I don't know. Saturday I did it. Yeah.
It looks good.
Thank you. I appreciate that compliment. The Feel Good vibes today are rolling. So make sure you have an amazing Tuesday. As always, Jackie and I hope that you enjoyed our Feel Good vibe of the day. And thank you so much for watching and engaging with this episode of Good Day Bermuda, which is supported by Pizza House and Aliana's Restaurant. I'm Terri Tuku alongside Jackie Lambert. We trust we'll see you tomorrow for more Feel Good conversations. Until the next episode, peace and have a good day, Bermuda.